that is keeping humans in this type of reality and stands between them and their own ascension process. So this episode, we're going to dive into the history of the moon, what the moon is actually like, and why it is so important for the ascension process.
That's fascinating to think that the moon is blocking us on our own ascension
Communication
process.
It actually is. And something we should really realize is how important the moon is on a day-to-day basis, right? It changes wave patterns. It changes and modulates the way that frequential realms of frequencies are modulating or moving. So we see that, for example, in the hormonal levels of bodies. We do see that in the tides and waves in the ocean. But the moon itself has been brought here. We do know that because of a time at the last Earth shift, the moon was brought into the atmosphere in order to protect the Earth, but over quite some time, these things changed. So the moon, and I say this here very, very clearly, the moon is space technology. It is not a natural occurring object, and it's also the only moon that is perfectly round, perfectly shaped. Every other moon we have in the solar system looks like a potato, actually. So that is super interesting. And as you know, there have been lots and lots of different experiments on the moon trying to figure out what is that actually. But for that, in order to realize what happens, we have to go back to 1945, right when the Second World War was officially ending. And people were looking into the situation. What is the planet? What is the quantum reality we're living in? And slowly, there was more and more insight, especially on the American side, but also at the European side. The Europeans had a few more years to look into the situation with the moon. And they were realizing, well, there is something about that. We have all these stories of like tribes, African tribes, Asian tribes, that say the moon, there is a time where the moon was not on Earth, where they remember where the moon was brought in. So these agencies in the 1940s were slowly realizing that something is off. Something is different than what people always thought about the moon being like a natural thing. And I want to remind everyone, the moon is exactly in a ratio of 1 to 140, the same size, it at least appears to be the same size as the sun. And later on we're going to talk about why that it is, because it's a very, very special architecture that is actually of non-terrestrial origin and has been placed here in order to create life and to create the sustainable environment that life forms on planet Earth need in order to grow.
Tim, are the beings that created the moon the same ones that brought it here? Because if not, are there beings in the galaxy that build moons and sell them?
Yeah, that's a fascinating and great question, Jeff. Yes, the beings that built the moon were different beings than the beings that brought the moon into this type of atmospheric level around the Earth, into the orbit. And yes, there are beings that build moons, and it's getting even crazier if you want to even think about these terms, because the universe itself is already pretty spectacular. The probabilities that everything that we see here is even existing is it's like a huge miracle. But there are species, at least there's one species that we know of, that is actually capable of creating their own sun, which makes naturally brings up the question, what is it about our sun, right? Is that a real sun? But that would bring us into a different episode. But the moon itself is a space technology that they have built. And now the big question for sure is, why did they build it? The reality is shown, and that is something that is very interesting. I have these talks with these people in these advanced programs. So there have been people on the moon and are traveling in and out of the moon for quite some time, but they are different than what people might think about, like rockets shooting up and so on. The moon is quite far away. I guess people do not realize that sometimes. If you think about the time in the 60s where Russia has officially brought the first man into space, then the distance for that person from Earth is about 300 something kilometers. However, the moon is about 300 something thousand kilometers still away from Earth. So just thinking about how huge these and vast these distances are. Now the big question is, what is the moon for? Why is it brought here? What is happening? And we have to gain an understanding of what space actually is. We have to understand that light performs like water. It fills the room, right? If you click on a lamp, there's a beautiful physical pattern which shows that light performs like a wave. It also works as a particle, which means that you can have like light beams and so on, but it fills the room. Now imagine what happens with space when there is light sources. There's no dark spots in space, even though it's always portrayed in the media as dark spots. There's just like this light field all around planet Earth. You need matter in order to have shadows. So Earth is actually creating her own shadow. What we do see as darkness on planet Earth is the actual shadow that comes from Earth itself or herself.
What drives
so
you?
The moon is a barrier, and it's been brought into here as a protective barrier in its origin in order to keep outside sources away from Earth. Because, and we need to go back to the last Earthship 15,000 years ago, with a big flood, and we talked about that in the last episode. Everyone who hasn't checked it out, there's a playlist. But when we go back to that time, there have been forces, and there are many, many stories about ET forces and other forces. Even the Bible talks about it. There have been forces who manipulated from the outside what's happening on planet Earth, leading to catastrophe, leading to chaos and devastation, and even these old civilizations having to leave the planet or go into the inner crust of the planet, and so on and so on, and then raising a new type of civilization, human civilization, which happened after the flood. So the moon itself is protecting the Earth from everything, all these influences, especially psychic influences that come from the outside. Because these beings that oversee the planet itself, these beings as guardians wanted to have an environment where beings can grow autonomously, free, so to speak. They can evolve freely. And was actually created by a species that goes into the millions and millions of each individual in age. So it's a very ancient species that actually, we talk about 5 original species. Original species are ET species that at least are convinced, let's put it that way, they are themselves, they are convinced that they have founded, created, that they are the parents, the fathers, the mothers of humans, that they have brought humans into the universe. And this species, which is called Troctoborians, this species is capable, because they are super ancient, they are capable of growing in the subspace, which is a very sophisticated, high technology thing. So what they do is they almost have like these layers of space-time, and they grow something in between space-time, pull it up, and have a full-sized model of what they created. And that takes them hundreds of thousands of years. However, each one of these individual beings can become
Instagram, Twitter of those days.
The CIA. Tinfoil hat.
Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Come on, Rebecca. Stay with me.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your
Heed
mind.
the call of the unknown. Personal directive. Prioritize the wounded. We cannot fight if unidentified. Another survivor from the crash?
I'm Moira, of the Dark Iron and Bronzebeard.
Baelgrim.
Stone Ward.
I am not the Stone Ward. You know that.
I know you abandoned your post.
And you abandoned us.
The Coreway was attacked. It must be repaired.
We were attacked too. You should have protected.
I can see there is some history between you. But if you haven't noticed, the Nerubians have you both in their sights. You need each other, age-old drama or not.
Drink from the fountain
Greetings,
of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's
Go
the
where you
answer to national
This is a waste of cycles. I will go to the quarry myself.
Wake up, Aaron.
Then you'll be the
only the
first
beginning.
storm rider
You
it's
just
seen
blew my
for
mind.
centuries.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. I'm here too. Join me as always, Xavier Guerrero, and on the ones and twos, Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny Woodard.
Hey.
Live from the Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Studios. That's right. Go to samtripoli.gold, use the promo code TINFOIL, and get precious metals for as little as $50 a month sent to your house right away. samtripoli.gold. Right, very excited to have this guest we're going to have on today. EMF Rocks own Justin Franson. Very excited to have him on. We're going to get into it. And yeah, real quick, just go to samtripoli.com if you want to check out my live dates. It's not up there right now, but it will be by the time you watch this. I'm going to be in Indianapolis at Helium's August 3rd, 2 shows, Saturday night. Boom, boom, pow. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Then I'm going to be in Long Beach at Jay on the Water on the 28th. And then more dates coming. We already have December full, 2 dates in December. More to fill from there. Anything else, guys?
Hit that like button. Come hang out
Outsiders
on Twitter with me, at Johnny Woodard.
All right, enjoy this show. All right, let's get into it. Very excited to have him on. He's been on here before, and he is one of the affiliates that we work with. That's right. His company is EMF Rocks. Please welcome Justin Franson. How are you, brother?
Oh, amazing, Sam. Thanks for having me on, buddy.
Justin, how long has it been since you were on the show? Do we remember?
Goodness, about 3 years. I think we were in the middle of the thick of the fog, and I was sharing some of those experiences and helping everyone push through it.
Yeah, I mean, crazy times, dude. Just crazy. What a difference. I mean, and you know they just want it all to come back. So it's been a while, buddy. We're glad to have you back. We're honored to have you back. Why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and where they can find you?
Yeah, Justin Franson, athleticism performance coach, founder of athleticism.com and emfrocks.com. I started athleticism.com almost 30 years ago working with amateur and professional athletes. I do nerve work, fascia work, coordination work for sports performance. I treat concussions. We have one of the most long-standing sports performance programs in the country that looks at the body a whole different way. And yeah, again, we're going to dive into the whole EMF field in our environment. And that's what I saw over a dozen years ago. One of our athletes, one of the strongest, fittest guys, was breaking down with wearable technology. And he said, Justin, I have pain in my wrist. And I said, what do you mean? Where is it? And he said, well, it's right here where the watch was. He pointed to where his smartwatch was. And I said, well, take the radiation off your wrist.
Yeah.
And sure enough, his pain went away. So that's what got me into this. And then now it's gone from performance coach to EMF, expert in the field, written a book on it called Grounded by Nature. And then now we're looking at into body sovereignty and freedoms and biometrics from helping slow the process down from all the surveillance marketing that's going on. So it's been this insanely long journey that I think we'll cover the highlights of all of it here today.
Well, you live in one of the most wonderful place on planet
Glad
Earth,
to see
which is
Adelcon
one of the
finally
beach towns
sent
in
us some help.
California. We won't give the exact place, but it's below LA and above San Diego, so in that area.
Let's rescue
Yeah.
these folks
Okay. Well,
and
yeah.
avoid
I
these
personally
webs.
think it's God's country.
Let's commit our
I mean,
meeting to
like
memory.
it's so gorgeous, and the reason I bring it up is because you're into athletic training and stuff like that. Have we talked about this before about how we might have said that the last time you were here, but that Southern California has the highest percentage of world-class athletes in the world. Like they all come to train here. You know,
Not native. They come.
they all come like they move from the rest of the country here, and then they move from around the world to train here. It's crazy, right? I mean, it's like, I bet you're just working with extremely good-looking super athletes who are just the product of multiple generations of attractive people hooking up.
It's a mecca. It's a mecca.
It's gotta be great, dude. It's gotta be like you say whatever you want about Southern California. Yeah, too much traffic, politics suck. But at least it's done by good-looking people, right? At least you're getting cut off by gorgeous people, and I'll take that any day. So, I dirty energy, man. I'm really into this discussion. I don't think people understand how much it affects their lives. Like, it's really hard to deal with. Why are we getting to that? Why don't we talk about why it's so challenging for us?
Yeah, so going back to the basics, let's backtrack a little bit on from our last conversation. So for those that missed it, you got to understand that we're electromagnetic beings and that we're one with nature. Just straight up. Every single Western medicine test that they would do on us is through waveforms. And the reason is because they're measuring our waveforms. So we're electromagnetic beings. And our resonance is one with nature. So what that means is we're based on waveforms that are unpolarized. They distribute equally in every direction. So during the middle of the nonsense, they didn't say stay 6 feet away from a straight line out of Justin's right ear. No, they said stay 6 to 8 feet away from everybody. Like it's a whole resonance all around you. So we're unpolarized. Our waveforms are unpolarized. They distribute equally in every direction. Same as the Earth's resonance. I'm not getting grounded in the Earth and earthing in one spot and then not in another spot. It's just a resonance that exudes from the whole Earth. One other great example is why, Sam, if I drop a pebble into a pond, does the splash of the pond go equally out in every direction? It's because the framework of our entire living collective tissue matrix is all unpolarized waves that distribute equally in every direction. So those are electromagnetic fields, the framework of us and our entire universe. Now, the non-native ones are electromagnetic radiation. They're one-directional waveforms, or they don't work. Those are polarizing, they're disruptive, they're 10 zeros faster, at least the wireless ones are, than how we sleep, rev, and optimize. So that's how they're challenging for us.
It's interesting.
Commander.
And it's everywhere. And then, so like, I always, what's the craziest conspiracy ever? And it's like, most of your plagues come from when new electricity technology is just unleashed on America, on humanity, right? You go through all these different times where all these different energy systems were put in, you know, electricity energy systems. And you start to see like just people getting sick left and right. And it's because we are electricity. We are an energy system, and now you're bombarding it with foreign energy, right? I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, and Arthur Firstenberg categorized it in the book The Invisible Rainbow, which I think we touched on before as well. So that book classifies every major time when there's mass disease. So before we introduced electricity into homes in 1889, anytime people got sick, it was from solar flares or cosmic shifts, atmospheric pressure shifts. That's when people adapted. Our REM patterns get messed up. The pressure in our body changes. We produce a virus because that's what we're built on. That's our adaptive system. And then our bodies deal with it the best way we can. Ever after 1889, everything on the bar graph has gone up, from cancer, suicide, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular, infertility. And the one main consistent variable is electricity.
Those webs will
So when we rolled out radio waves to satellites to radar to 5G, those are all classified with Hong Kong flu, or actually World War II was, Spanish flu was radar, was radio waves. World War II was radar. Satellites were Hong Kong flu, and then 5G coronavirus. So that book categorizes everything.
Dude, if you were around during Hong Kong flu, would you just be laughing every time everybody said that? You just got the Hong Kong flu, you got the Washington again.
I want none of that.
It's so hilarious, dude. Yeah, dude. This book.
You know what Trump called it? The COVID originally? Somebody called it. The Wuhan flu? Yeah, but
The China flu.
They called it the China flu, which is so hilarious that people accepted Hong Kong flu, but they didn't accept China flu.
Because he said
And isn't there other like flus that are like specific to areas?
yes, yeah, absolutely. It's been a naming convention throughout history. Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys, the funny thing is they called the flu before 1889 because it would fly in and fly out with solar flares. And until we put electricity in the homes, the flu was here to stay. It became seasonal.
Did you know that? That's crazy. So when they're like solar flare come, everyone gets flu.
Well, I don't understand. It's from influenza, though, right? What?
No, but all that stuff comes from when.
No, but are you trying to say the word is?
What I'm trying to say, I'm repeating what he said.
No, I'm asking him.
Yo, okay, well, because you're looking right in my eyes.
I mean, well, I can't look at him.
Okay. Yes, that's what the book says, The Invisible Rainbow. It says it's from, they called it the flu because it would fly in and fly out with solar flares.
But
it's not from influenza.
Influenza is a word they made up after that? Is that what you said?
I assume, yeah. See, you guys, we've been lied to. Hence my unlearned shirt is literally the last 140 years we've been lied to, from pharma, Béchamp versus Pasteur. The viruses aren't the bad guys. There's firemen at every fire. Those are our adaptive systems at play. So they're using these big words and these seasonal things to scare us and to sell us into purchasing more drugs and selling us drugs as health. It's the farthest thing from the truth.
I couldn't agree more. We have this discussion. I'm a total train theorist. I think everything else is just BS. And it's so crazy because all you have to, you tell people, hey man, you're safer than you think. You could be safe. It's like this thing with vaccines, right? Like, mothers will do, and you always hear these stories about mothers will do anything for their children. They will lay their life down. Most parents will do that. Would step in front of a bullet for their children to save their kids, right? You hear stories of moms just lifting cars because their kids are trapped. You're like, oh my God, that's motherly love right there. And then you go, hey man, these vaccines might be a big reason, if not the biggest reason, we're seeing autism everywhere. No. Hey, man, but there is a chance that this is a big part of what, there's a chance that it is the cause. A chance. Nope. A little chance. Nope. It's like I've
And
never
if you don't,
seen it before.
you can't sue them.
But
Well,
it's not
you
even
know
that.
what it is, though. It's because they've already given their kids all these shots. You know what I mean? And they're
Right, but
the,
then
the possibility
future
now
mother-
that they've damned their own
I
children
get it.
is almost impossible to
I
accept.
get it, but it's like, let's say you did give your kids it and nothing's happened. Why would you risk it more? Why would you be like, hey, we gotta take these shots to go to these schools? Why would you allow those? Why, if you even thought there was a possibility of it happening, why isn't there an uproar going? We have to if you think there's a possibility that vaccines could cause injury, which I believe, then you should at the minimum be asking for no mandatory vaccines. Be like, if you want to take it, you can. I don't want to take it, so I shouldn't have to take it. Right? Is that? Would you agree on that, Justin?
Another ambush. 100%. Are you kidding me? I mean, we're for body sovereignty, and when someone puts something in you, they can easily control you. So again, for me, these are bioweapons of 5G around us. And then you talk about our environment. What is our environment? We have this external environment that is now full of electromagnetic radiation that affects our biofield, as Bruce Lipton would say. Biofield first, energy first, then the chemistry in your body is secondary, which then affects our body. So if you mess with something externally and then you also mess with something internally, you can create something where you can control a population really easy.
Yeah, I mean, like, we're seeing all this stuff with MK Ultra and all that stuff, and like what happened with the shooter. You know, I got guys, I might do just a live stream with them on Friday, talking to them about their theories about what happened in the shooting. But, you know, a lot of people are talking about MK Ultra, and basically this guy was, like, activated. And now you're like, yeah, they've been working on that. That sounds like sorcery to me. And it sounds like they've been working on that forever. And we had guys coming on here talking about frequencies, that they can control the weather and that they don't need direct energy weapons because they can control the frequency with the weather. And that's the manipulation that they have. So when I say they're practicing hardwired mysticism, that's what I'm talking about, dude. Like, we're really into the mysticism that we see in Marvel comic movies. That's what I really do believe. Like, people, like all this stuff that the DARPA's working with, that's some Doctor Strange crazy stuff, dude.
So it's that a question for you that he was a lone shooter?
No, I mean, like, I think it's so much stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, I mean, how long did it go from JFK? Like, now we're just getting into who really was behind it. How many years later? So it's going to move quicker than JFK, but
Well, Josh Hawley was, you know, I mean, and take that for what it's worth, whatever he says. It was just on saying that they left that building that he was on because it was too hot on the roof. It's what he was told by a whistleblower. It was too hot.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, they think you're stupid.
These are all psyops, you guys. I mean, this is what we're seeing. We saw it with MK Ultra. We see it with Thin Thread, and Bill Bainey had like 2.5 billion collection of nodes to encrypt it. But then they went, what was it, Government Hayden? He rebranded it as He rebranded Thin Thread as Trailblazer, which basically can hack into all of our privacy stuff. It's the same.
Oh my God.
It's like rebranding MK Ultra. That's what's going on. These are psyops, and they're just chipping away at our privacy and then re-messaging stuff to us.
So I want to get into the, you know, we just had this giant global blackout, this energy blackout, this internet blackout. You know, Klaus Schwab seems to have this amazing ability to predict the future. He it's just like, it's so, whether he's talking about futuristic pandemics or an EMF attack that will make COVID look pale in comparison. You know, like, would you say that was okay impression?
It was the best impression. I thought he was in the room. If I
Okay,
wasn't
thank
looking
you.
at you, I would have thought it was hard eight. Hard eight.
Thank you, dude. I'll take that. Rate my impression.
I would
That's
love
my
to have
new
a
Reddit.
Reddit.
Rate my impression. But I mean, like, dude, it's coming, and we've just, you know, just on last episode, we're talking about how much we're just on the internet and all these Wi-Fi. Like, what do you think it's doing to us? Like, what are the effects right now?
I mean, we're all electricians. We're holding routers all day long and then putting them on our lap and then throwing them in our ears and then driving in them. And each of those routers has Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, cellular, then it has broadband spectrum, and has GPS. It's like multiple bandwidths in each of them. It's insane what we're doing. So what it does is it's a slow cook process. It just chips away at our life force. And everyone bends and breaks differently. So for people that aren't as sensitive to it or are healthy and have, you know, their vitality up, good for you. You're good to go. Just we'll start to learn to develop usage and proximity protocols. But man, a lot of people are sick. A lot of people aren't getting well. And so that's a lot of the demographic that, you know, that I'll be in touch with through our EMF products and the grounding bags. And we sell them through doctor clinics all around the country. So all they're doing all day is trying to detox people from taking on excess voltage in their body, because our bodies are essentially capacitors. We receive and emit electromagnetic frequencies.
So my question to you is, and maybe I'm just doing it wrong, but do you ever find that the blocking of certain energy also blocks the Wi-Fi? If you're trying, like, can I use Wi-Fi and also not be getting bombarded with dirty electricity? Is there a happy balance in that?
Yeah, so let's change the terminology a little bit. So there's a time and a place for blocking products. Ours aren't blocking products. We have nature's resonance. So what I did is everyone looks to nature to get grounded, right?
Yes.
Yeah, well, so did I. And so we hand mine crystals. Our crystals are different than anyone else's crystals because they have moisture properties in them. So they'll dry out if they're not sealed. No one found these before because when they had mined them, they would just dry out and turn to dust. We're the first to seal them. So shungite, amethyst, black tourmaline, all the other known crystals that have magnetic properties, they don't have the moisture. So ours have both. So that's why they're so good. So that's the difference there as far as the EMF protection. So what we look to is to create a coherence. So physics will say, Sam, that you can convert a waveform into something that's polarized to something that's unpolarized. That's what nature does innately to facilitate healing us. So the answer is to create a coherence. When there is, like, if you're going to put a laptop on your lap, well, yeah, put something blocking it, put our Faraday bag underneath it to repel the frequencies away. If you have a cell tower on the other side of the wall, put EMF paint or tint or curtains up so it repels it the other way, and then use our grounding bags to create that coherence in your environment.
I gotta do that. Like 2 blocks away from me is giant high wires. You know, I love where I live, John. You've been there. You've been there too, man.
Yeah,
it's like it's a nice place, but man, it's
overrun with
just high wires everywhere around there.
I just looked it up. I mean, not that I didn't believe it, but there's like EMF paint, and it's not that. I thought it'd be super pricey.
Do you guys
it's not
have
that
EMF
crazy.
paint? Do you have EMF paint there, Justin?
Well, I don't have paint. We just convert everything. I've done all the stuff with our home to make it a safe home. We've made sure the electricity is rewired and safe and grounded. We're hardwiring stuff when possible. If there's Wi-Fi on at night or electricity on at night, we have a timer that it goes off at night. So we put timers on our electrical panels. So computers at offices are hardwired. I don't have Wi-Fi going on unless it's a cell phone and I'm using it. And even with that, we can still hardwire it.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our good friends. You need to know a thing. That means you know a thing about crypto. 54th went up 25 times. The .com there's over our Wi-Fi. If we hardwired everything, I'm hardwired right here. Oh, you are.
It's faster.
Okay.
Yeah. Dude, Sam, it's faster. Fiber optic.
At home, you have to be. You should. There's no excuse for you not having.
Even if my office is far away from the router.
They make cat cables as long as you want.
Yep.
As long as you want.
All right, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do that.
Yeah, fiber optic, faster, safer, more reliable, minimal health challenges. I mean, it's a great way to use this technology without it using you.
Okay. I got to do that. I got to get out from under all this stuff. And, you know, I know it's affecting our sleep too. Like Dana, because her mother's 90, she always knows if there's going to be a crazy ass, if there's a situation going on, you know, she has her phone right next to her. And I'm just like, man, that thing is just bombarding us right now with radiation. We're just taking it. So I don't know what to do with that, dude. I don't know how to like have that in case there's an emergency, but also have the phone not being murdering us.
And it's to me, it's more like an accident because usually I don't like it next to me. But you know, you're texting, you're listening to a podcast, and it's probably like where the nightstand's at.
Yeah.
And you're just sitting there like that's not good for your brain. It's
That's
just
not good
all
for-
night. It's just getting.
Do you have Bluetooth?
Only on the
headphones?
only on the airplanes, only on the flight. I know you do got full wire. Him and Eddie Bravo are full wire for life, and they don't
For
even.
as long as they let us do it. Do you get worried that they're gonna get away? They're gonna get rid of the plug. Then how are you gonna charge your phone?
Oh, well, you'll always be. I mean, no, they're gonna go full wireless for sure. Yeah, USB-C eventually. I mean, the European laws have kind of restricted them a little bit in that they have to have that connector for a while, but yeah, eventually it's gonna be a fully wireless universe. Yeah, for sure. Don't you agree?
Yeah, you guys, for sure. I mean, the phones are zapping, and we could do what we can to hardwire it and use the corded headsets and such. But at night, I mean, it's super important to, if you got to take a call, throw it in our Faraday bag. It'll still ring. It'll dampen the signal strength to safe levels. And then the other thing is, or just have the grounding bag or bags on your bed, and that'll create the coherence. So see what happens. So this is the deal. When you're sleeping, let's go into the brainwave states. And this is where my superpowers lie, because I can convert everything into a wave per second. So we take these waves. So what does a hertz mean in English? It means it's a speed of a wavelength, and we're going to measure it in a wave per second. So when we're sleeping, our brainwave states are in a delta or theta brainwave state. That's 1 or below 1 to 8 hertz or waves per second. Now, when our athletes are in the flow state and they can't miss, when XG's balling out and just, dominating, you're basically in 8 to 13 hertz or waves per second, right? And these cell phones are 2.45 gigahertz. That means 2.45 billion waves per second. 5G is 60 to 90 billion waves per second. Telecom has the capacity and the green light to notch it up to 300 gigahertz, 300 billion waves per second. When we rev and sleep at 1 to 8 or 1 to 13, same as the Schumann resonance, which is the healing pulse of the Earth at 7.83 hertz or waves per second. So there's a 10-0 plus delta.
That is so insane. That is so insane.
I was gonna ask you. You were talking to a comic yesterday about our friend from Austin. Are those hertz that your vibration that he's throwing at you? Do you know what type of?
What do you mean?
You were talking to Whitney Cummings, and you were talking about the EMF or what you were thrown at over there in Austin. Is that hertz that you were thrown at? You get what I'm trying to say? The vibration?
No, I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
The vibration. You're talking to Whitney about the guy that has the float labs and all stuff.
Okay.
Is that hertz?
No, that was in New Jersey.
Oh,
yeah,
New Jersey.
it's
But
hertz.
is that hertz that's getting thrown at you?
Yeah, let me see if you've heard about this.
Have a good one. See you around.
Hertz are just the frequency. I mean, the measurement of the wave. waves. What are
Hold
you
on
talking? What are you
second.
talking about?
Have you ever heard of
will
this,
answer
Justin?
your
It's called energy enhancement systems. Have you ever heard of that? Yeah, it's super interesting, but it's like basically this vibrational through hertz, but it's vibrational healing.
Yeah.
And it,
so
go on, sorry.
Yeah. So when we're talking about two different things. So electricity is so good in so many ways. Like I have a TENS unit. I have bioharmonic technologies. Sound bed. It's the most incredible thing. It sounds like you're laying in a speaker for sound therapy. We use Rife systems, so you have frequencies that, again, you go to a Western doctor, they're going to diagnose you with an X-ray or a magnetic resonance. They're all waveforms. We use Rife to assess and treat through scalar waves. So when you're treating, this is the thing, when you're treating, whether it's with that product or anything else, they're great tools. They're great at analyzing and assessing you and treating you for a short duration. That's the thing, it's a short duration. When you're looking at EMF protection, that's 24/7. You can't look to make a manufactured modified resonance to overpower the other modified resonances in your environment. That's a futile effort. No one does it better than nature. So we look to nature's resonance for EMF protection, and then we look to scalar ones for the healing and those frequency healing machines.
Yeah, it's interesting. They say it's done. It's helped with autism. It's helped heal people with autism, which, you know, what we were talking about with Whitney Cummings is a very interesting person, right? Because, you know, when you go like, who personifies Hollywood forever? You would say it's Whitney Cummings, but she seems to be like an AI awakening, and she's starting to see things and talk about things for whatever reason. Like she just had a kid, and it's like she wants to have another kid. It's so funny, dude. It's like all you have to do is study Whitney Cummings' life, and you will see like woke is bullshit, right? Because like, you know, she's all this. You're like, I don't need a guy. I don't need a guy. I don't need a baby. I want my career. And now she's just trying to crank out as many kids she can because she loves kids, right? It's like something amazing. So we're having all these conversations. I started talking to her about how they've, you know, cracked all the major bells. All the major bells have cracks in them because those were healing tools. And like when you'd hit the vibration, it would heal you. I mean, like the world we live in is so much more interesting than people really even understand. And like, yeah, dog, we're battling the devil here. And the devil has just put this shit in an occult lockdown. And we're battling sorcery in this science. Science is a new religion. And we're following that. We're not listening to just Mother Earth or listening to God and all that stuff. But yeah, I was telling her about the vibrations, and she's like, it's like watching her digest stuff is so interesting. She's like, you know, it's like interesting.
Well, Sam, nature has the most incredible healing properties. And so the first thing for anyone to heal or recharge is to go outside and get out in the sun. It's free. Go put your feet on the lawn. It's free. Touch a tree. It's free. Get into any body of water. It's free. Have a picnic. It's free. Like literally get outside in the nature, because what happens is our body battery charges it we get the negative ionic charge. We pull the electrons from the earth, and that supports our electron transport chain. That's what gives us energy. We get the unpolarized light from the sun because our bodies are holograph of light. And that's where we get tons of energy. Dr. Zach Bush, one of my friends, will say, we also get it from the air we breathe. So breathe some good quality air. Hopefully we get it from our food. And then we get more minerals and structure from the water and the conductivity at all from the water. So if we're missing any one of those 5 elements, our body batteries become a gateway for challenges in disease or decharging.
I've been hearing this for a long time. Like these electric cars, like what are they doing to us? Are they just shish kebabbing our private parts so we can't have children? Like everyone's moving to Teslas. Tesla's logo looks a lot like Bathmet. I'm just saying. It looks a lot like Bathmet. And what are your thoughts on all this? Because I drive good old-fashioned gas car. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I like combustion engine for sure. So the other thing, people are saying that the Tesla logo looks like an IUD.
Oh,
Now that it actually looks like, yeah, for sure.
Damn, bro. Depopulation.
18% lower testosterone. Well, we had a colleague test military special forces, and across the board, 18% lower testosterone for guys and girls driving electric cars.
I
They're
make
sitting
up for
on a
it by
massive
blowing
battery.
people away on the highway. So.
Oh, so when you drive faster, it makes your testosterone go up, Johnny?
Yeah, that's how I make up for that. Yeah.
Johnny, do you just listen to Motley Crue the whole time you drive?
No, I like Motley. No, I never listen to them. No, of course
Okay.
not.
You can feel it. Go on, Justin. Sorry, you want to tell Johnny why he's got lady balls?
My balls are huge.
So you give someone a COVID shot, that's 20% lower testosterone. You give them a Tesla, that's 18%. You take a really healthy person and make them a little compromised. But I'm just not a fan of it for a lot of reasons. It's not better for the environment. Sick care is way more costly than gas. So I've just seen too much of it in the health space for almost 30 years. But you're using more electricity to use the vehicle. So right out of the gates, the whole concept of it doesn't really make much sense environmentally. You're basically, it's dirty mining processing. They're using coal, cadmium.
Do you think most people who own these cars care about that, though? I mean, I think they may delude themselves or pretend that they care about that, but I think most people just think they're cool cars, right, and want to save on the gas.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of Tesla guys that are obsessed with it, and they love the stock. They made money on their stock. But what I'm seeing in my neighborhood, there's a lot of guys with electric cars, 10 years, and they're breaking. They're getting melanomas. They're getting lots of different health challenges. So it's a slow cook process. The first handful of years, the guys that had a lot of money that were getting them, that were 50 and over, they are all doing synthetic testosterone replacement. So they didn't notice it. And now they're starting to see their bodies chip away in different ways. So whether it's for the environment, whether it's for their stock, that's fine. If you're obsessed with it and don't want to get rid of it, you got to throw 7 grounding bags in it to clear it. So there's ways to use.
Go ahead. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you how you can mitigate it. And then I was going to ask you also about testosterone replacement. I know Sam has considered it. So.
Yeah. So John, I would just lean in on the grounding bags for the car. If you're obsessed with it, you don't want it. 7 grounding bags will clear it through muscle testing so you can coexist with it. It creates more of a coherence for you.
Go.
Yeah, just keep grounding our grounding bags every month because it's a lot inside of the car. You have electricity, there's over 7 computers in every new car. The one thing, the difference with the electric cars is the massive battery, but every new car has all the wireless, all the electricity, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. It's all off the charts on every new car.
I find it interesting, dude.
Sam, you got to get an old car now.
I know. If I could buy a old Camaro SS, I would buy it tomorrow.
Oh, is that your car? Mine is the old Corvette Stingray.
If I could get one of those,
like
I should buy one of those. But you can't drive those around.
Yeah, that's how you can't be your daily. That can't be your daily.
I would.
You can't drive that around.
I drive once a week. What do I got to worry about?
Yeah, Johnny's kind of right.
Okay, Johnny, good point. That's a good point. But
Johnny, I would write a dissertation on this whole topic. I'm just so anti it. There's no infrastructure. There never will be. It's a fad. All the industry cars are moving to hybrids because no one wants to spend an hour and a half plus to charge their car. It doesn't get more fuel efficient. It doesn't get lighter when you drive it. It's cooking families. It's a fire hazard. They're heavy. They tear up the roads. It throws off the electrical grid in your home when you're charging it. So when you're home sleeping, you have high electricity, dirty electricity in your home. It's just endless.
And for me, dude, it just gets in this thing like, why do they want us off oil so badly? Why do they want? And that just lets me think, and this is where we get into cuckoo town. Oil is a God-given gift. Oil is.
Well, they still use it. They're using diesel to you feel these charging stations. I mean, it's not, they're not using what we call fossil fuels and stuff anymore. They're just not. They're using all this stuff. And then they're filling up the acid with landfills with acid and dead batteries. And the biggest conspiracy truth is they could shut the car down at any time.
Yep.
Literally.
Well, that's the big lie about this whole thing. I mean, there are plenty of grids now that are running on their backups, which are like coal powered in many cases. And they
even the windmills, like the you know, when you drive to like Phoenix, you go by and they have all those wind powered things. They all have oil in them.
Springs.
Yeah, they all have oil in them. They use oil to run those things. It's a giant lie. And that's why I think it's just all about, I mean, even you can go into why does Saudi Arabia have giant black cube? It's like, it is a satanic movement, depopulation, controlling oil, which is God-given. I believe all this, man. I believe my spider senses tingle.
How do you make that harmonize with OPEC? And it seems like the people that are in charge of the oil in this world are mostly assholes.
Yeah, that fits into things running everything.
Why would they want to get people off of oil?
Because I don't think they really do. I think they want to get certain people off of oil, or they appear get off to get off of oil because they want to destroy our economy.
He kept
That's
platter
why.
flush with a fresh supply of $1 bills
Right,
and
that's
cash
like that's
intensive
the big
industries that
thing.
wanted to hide
Get
their
everything
income from governments.
electricity, everybody automated, everything,
chains from
and it
immigrant
just
neighborhoods.
destroys everything.
Singles would be shipped.
That's
They
all
can
it is.
control everything, control everything so much easier. That's the really, the big note is the control factor, the tracking, the tracing, the control, the shutting down, the 15-minute cities, like all that. And yes, current industries need to do way better about cleaning and the extraction process. And they're doing it at all costs, which isn't cool at all. Even though I'm a fan of it, they got to clean it up. They got to clean up their acts. So, but Japan's thrown out hydrogen now. There's a lot of other fuels that we're moving towards that I think we'll start to see in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I think we're going to stay on oil the whole time. Possibly not. There will be other ones, but I think oil is God-given. And you're totally right. There's a difference between global warming and pollution. And they've tried to kind of
bury it under some pasture where you've got enough cows to sell
the same
lives,
thing,
but
and
not
they're
enough to
not.
bring
They're
state
totally
inspectors on
different.
your land.
And
Totally different. Ibrahim Karim, Dr. Ibrahim Karim, the founder of biogeometry, will say that if there's any change in the temperature climate, it's from radiation, from the rollouts of satellites and HARPs and Doppler systems, the radar systems, 150 plus of them all over our atmosphere. That's cooking us. These things are 2.45 billion waves per second, so 2.45 gigahertz is the minimum bandwidth that destructures water. So it's dehydrating our planet and us.
Okay, but this is all just theory.
So crazy. And then you just have these, again, going back to these crazy people that run these crazy governments, Saudi Arabia, China, they're manipulating the weather. And I mean, like, so this is Sam speaking, not Justin. Let's just say the snow globe model is the model, a flat Earth. We're under a firmament. This is a flat Earth, right? So like you're manipulating something over here.
Okay.
Yeah,
something's gonna change over here.
We're at Picard's place.
And you look at Saudi Arabia, they're messing with the weather, and then bang! All of a sudden, camels are floating away in floods in the desert. It's like not meant to be like that.
Motel office probably to find out which
one. This is weather modification. They're doing it.
The other two.
The chemtrails. They're full of barium, strontium, aluminum. They've been modifying it. It's now coming to the forefront. They're trying to bring it into the public sector. It was all military doing it, and now they're just shameless about it. And we gotta stay hydrated. So the way we stay hydrated is take diatomaceous earth, which is silica, which our body is comprised of a large percentage of silica. We're energy, water, and silica. And so diatomaceous earth is a great way to get it. And then get the minerals, remineralize with Iris sea moss. Zeolites, get the good Celtic sea salts, get the good minerals in your body. That's how we're gonna keep our fascia hydrated and stay hydrated so we can coexist with this stuff.
So you make your own.
Yeah, I want to get
Turn
into
the
that
TV
a
up
little
loud.
bit right now. Like, what does that look like for you? What does coexisting look like?
How close are you to an end unit?
And why do you see
It means
your bags
working my
on?
ass off. Just
Tell me about
yeah,
the motel. What
it
kind
means
of
working, putting in the effort. I mean, I'm outside. I'm walking my dog in the morning barefoot. I'm
24-inch space between
in the
studs.
ocean
Pocket
doing
knife?
cold plunges, no matter what temperature the water is. No
Grab the bar from the
wetsuits. Getting
closet.
in there, 10 to 50 minutes plus per day, and then I'm at the beach. I'm literally playing beach volleyball, getting the sun, getting a tan, not worrying about
Ever seen a Kool-Aid
melanoma.
commercial?
I mean, literally putting in the work, not putting on sunscreen, except for maybe some mineral zinc on my nose and some of the more bare spots on my body. But that's, you got to put in the work, and then
Let me ask you
learn the
something real quick.
proximity usage protocols at home.
Sorry to cut you off because, my kids love to go to the pool. They love to go to the pool. It's the best. You just hang out, put them in the pool. You can zone out for a couple seconds because they got their floaties on, or my one daughter's learning to swim. But you're saying don't put, and I've heard this forever, don't put suntan lotion on? What should I put on there?
Unlearn. Look, we've been lied to forever. The sun's been around forever. This is just crazy ever since we've introduced seed oils and all the chemicals into our body, and then all the chemicals on the skin to sell for sun protection. Melanoma's gone through the roof. So I use Tava sunscreen. It's a zinc mineral sunscreen. I'll just put it on those areas. I'm getting so tan now that my intake's super clean. I'm a chip guy. I like the salty crunch, and now I'm getting rid of those seed oils and replacing the chips with proper oils. And I've cleaned up a lot of those chemicals in my system that convert into the challenges that we see with the circulation challenges that people label them as disease.
Is there a certain
when we
kind
do
you
that, they're
use?
not going to get fried. So put on the
Have you
zinc
met
on
your
the top
quota?
areas and just let them be a kid.
So is there a certain zinc sunscreen you use?
The Tava sunscreen.
The Tava?
Tava, we got to get it at Jack's Surf Shop. But again, it's all about, it's this 3-tier approach. It's clean up your intake, remineralize with the diatomaceous earth, get that silica
We
in
all
you,
have
and
our
iris sea
tests.
moss. I do fascial maneuvers. So if I get sunburn, I'm pulling my skin. I'm using Human Garage. You guys, if you don't know Human Garage, follow them. They have like over 1 million followers on Instagram, about 1 million on Instagram, and then millions more on top of it. But it's self-healing fascial maneuvers. So I do a ton of those. Even the skin, I'll pin this area, hold this area back, and I open up my sinuses, but I'm getting rid of skin fascial adhesions underneath the skin. So I'm rehydrating my body. I don't worry about sun. The sun is the last thing you should worry about. It's all the other stuff that
you
they're
intend to
modifying and
idle all
manufacturing
day?
that's a challenge.
But how do I stop my kids
Watch
from
your
being
step.
sunburned?
Yeah, because that's real. I mean, that when you get sunburn, it's no, yeah.
For me, I don't care about
But
my
that's
kids.
what I'm saying is when you get them on, you clean up all the stuff and rehydrate them, because we're all dehydrated. Everyone's dehydrated. It's just we have an epidemic chronic dehydration in our population.
Yes.
That's why there's so much disease. That's why there's sunburn. That's basically the root of all the challenges. So load up on what I shared, do the fast maneuvers, and use the zinc mineral sunscreen on the major areas and not put it all over the body. They won't get as fried. And maybe keep them out of the sun in the peak hours. That's always a great recommendation. And I'm not saying sun doesn't cause damage. I mean, I grew up playing tennis and gotten fried over the years. I get it, and I'm in my 50s, so I know what it can do to the skin. But I'm seeing my body come alive. Tans are better than ever without having any of these chemicals, and then kind of doing with that model that I shared with you.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell to you about an American company that's done American. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast.
How about sun gazing? Do you have an opinion on that? I know some people are proponents of that, and then you'll hear others who say that's a great way to damage your eyes.
Yeah, you only do it at first sunlight and then at the last sunlight.
But there's some value.
And there's tremendous value. You can get tremendous downloads from it, but you got to do it right the sun rises and then right as it sets. You're not going to be staring at it during the middle of the day. I mean, that's going to be a little tough for most people to process.
So is the type of sunscreen you suggested Sun Tribe? Is that what you said?
I use Tava sunscreen,
How do you
T-A-V-A, but there's a lot of zinc mineral sunscreens. I get mine at Jack's Surf Shop in Newport Beach. So,
okay, all right.
Yeah, apparently they're popular in Australia too. They call them like zinc sticks that they carry around the kids down there. It's kind of
Interesting.
That's where you got to go. Because the other stuff changes the polarity of your skin, and it starts to decharge you, and that's where we get dis-ease in our body. It's not. We don't want to block this stuff. In these big ways with these big chemicals. There's more aware ways to do it.
Well, I'm down with all of it, man. I'm just super interested in all of it. So, are you starting to see your bags everywhere?
Drowning bags. Yeah, we've been turning some heads the last several years thanks to your voice and guys like Tom Cowan and Kelly Brogan and Bear Lando, Alphabetic. The list goes on and on. I mean, these guys are your freedom fighters, the doctors that are aware and look at biotrain over germ theory. They're seeing what's in our environment and how do we interplay with our environment, and they're understanding the physics that go behind it and that we can coexist with this stuff. So we're selling them through doctor clinics all around. It's one of the leading natural EMF protection products now, and it's been phenomenal. So yeah, you can put at least one on your bed. You'll sleep up to 60% deeper. 5 will clear 2,000 square feet of the home. 7 will clear solar in the home.
Need something to
and
do.
then a Tesla as well.
If that is
That's
all.
crazy. So let's get into this like surveillance marketing
You go
and
wherever you
biometrics.
please, don't you?
What are your thoughts on all that?
Oh man, well, we're about 20 years behind on this whole surveillance marketing topic, and this is where it's kind of gotten interesting for me. So I hired this insane guy to do all the back ends for the computers. He's a cybersecurity expert, and so that's where I learned a lot of this stuff. So my computer, I have Bitwarden for the vaults and changing the passwords. I have VPNs, so you don't know where I am. I have backup phones that I bought account through privacy.com and got SIM cards on it, and then bought the SIM cards through privacy.com, so it's fully anonymous. So the only way someone would know who I was.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Sorry to cut you off, dude. That was amazing. That's amazing. I can't believe it.
Come on, get with the program. So the only way someone would know who I was through my voice, or my face, or my fingerprint, or my palm print, or my retina scan through biometrics. Those are my single and everyone's single most unique identifier. So we got to stop giving it away for confidence. We're giving that stuff away at record speeds. And what they're doing with this stuff is they're doing the surveillance marketing, and they have now predictors and modifiers they predict and modify our user behavior. That's essentially what they're doing. And they're so good at this stuff.
Yeah, how do you escape it? Like, how do you escape it? Like, you know, when I fly, I'm on pre-check. They do my eyeballs now.
Yeah, they start taking pictures of your face.
Yep.
Yeah, we're in the matrix. They know who we are, but the thing is when we're using this tech, and especially our phones, we got to have some form of anonymity. And that's how we slow it down. We slow it down through Faraday bags. Put your phone in the Faraday bag, because every app on your phone has 1 to 15 trackers. They know your driver's license, your passport, where you live, who you voted for, how fast you drive, your keystrokes. They know all your biometrics. They're grabbing everything from you. And if you go to any California Consumer Privacy Act disclosure policy at the bottom of any website, they'll tell you all that.
No, you know where else they're taking all your data? Teslas. Elon Musk grabbing everything from that car. Everything, how fast you're going, who you're talking to.
Yeah.
I guarantee he's grabbing all the data.
Well, if they, they offer insurance, and if you take their insurance, they will increase based on how you drive the car. Your insurance rate will go up. Like if you're blowing through stoplights, and they keep track of every little incident and increase the insurance rate. Crazy.
Exactly.
Do you do insurance through them?
No.
That's crazy.
That's like Monsanto insuring farmers.
You know, yeah, that's so funny. You know who I just think it's going to get to this where you're going to have this sci-fi dystopia in the big city, and if you want to get out of this, you got to move to the smaller city. That's what I think is going to eventually happen. It's like all the chaos in the city, the crime, the wokeness, all the drugs, the sexual craziness, all going to happen in the big city. And if you want to get away from that, you're going to have to move outside to the smaller city, which is really hard in LA, which is really hard in California, because like it's such premium land that even the small cities are super advanced. Like you don't really find a lot of just like hick towns in California.
You got to go past the IE. IE is still pretty modern.
Yeah, I mean, even that, but everything's there, all the towers, all the stuff. Like to get away from that stuff, you got to get out of California.
Yeah, I mean, you can go and find agricultural areas in the Grapevine and all that area.
Bakersfield, over there.
But not in L.A. down to San Diego. It's a concrete jungle almost.
Yeah, they're lighting everything up. I mean, another lie is we got to get the whole world connected. Well, third world countries, they don't even have electricity in certain areas. They don't have it, they don't want it, they don't need it. This is all just a big joke. And already, if about 80% of the population is already connected and using cell phones, I mean, they're just doing this stuff. They keep rolling it out. And we're relying on telecom for our health, and we have no say in it. They just keep turning this stuff up. They keep putting satellites up. They keep lighting up areas, and that's why we see new waves of people getting sick. It's not. I live, Laguna Beach, Newport Beach. It's arguably one of the healthiest places on the planet. Most active, most outside. There are summers where people get sick for no reason, and it's because they're turning stuff up, and their bodies are adapting.
And I really do believe this when it's, again, getting in terrain theory. It's like, what is flu season? Well, that's when a human body cleans itself, cleanses itself of its toxins. So if you want people to get sick in the summer, crank up the 5G, shaking and baking. And that's what they do, dude. They crank up this 5G and everybody starts not feeling well. I mean, I really do, I'm really shocked at how much we allow this stuff to happen. I'm really shocked at it. And then you look at the smaller states with the smaller population, they tend not to put up with it as much. They're much quicker to pass a law to go tell you to go screw yourself. And that's why, people hate the Electoral College, but I love it. I mean, it gives people in these smaller towns a say, as they should. Do you really want L.A., San Francisco, New York, and Chicago deciding policy? No. So it's like, get out. I mean, listen, this is a guy who's been wanting to get out of L.A. forever. I've been talking about it forever. I want to get out of here, and just got to figure out the place to go. But it's just, man, people getting sick. They just don't understand.
Yeah, our bodies want to have a coherence with their environment. And we have this coherent light from natural lighting outside, which is fantastic. So I'm right across from a window, which is where I choose to work, and I'm on the road. You know, I'm looking for natural light as much as I can, and that gives us structure and balance in our body, and our cells communicate through light. So the more we can connect with nature and her resonance to help facilitate healing, the more we're going to be able to move past this stuff. And this is just a simple principle of bioenergetics, is how we connect and communicate through this light body with nature.
Yeah, it's like, I get if you're young, you want to be in the big city. There's a lot of action, a lot of craziness, a lot of fun. And then, dude, it's just like, get out of the city. That's what I'm trying to do, man. Figuring it out.
Well, yeah, and it's come join me at the beach on the weekends. You know, we just got to have that balance. I mean, it's all about the balance and creating the coherence in your environment. And there's all those different steps of it. So understand where the EMF stressors are, buy the meters, get the meters. You can measure the waves. You can hear the meters scream when you point a wireless meter at a cell phone. That sound that the meter makes is what our bodies and our nervous system hears. You can hear that stressor underwater really easy. You know, it's crazy. So know what they are, develop usage protocols, proximity protocols, get grounding protocols into your daily lives, and then use our EMF rocks, the grounding bags, to create that coherence when we're, you know, living, working in these homes. We call them homes, but they're electrical boxes. We didn't grow up in that. They didn't have that 140 years ago. This is all new. Johnny, that's why it's so passionate for me to share this with you guys. This is a thing for health and future populations and population replenishment, because women's ovaries absorb 10 times the amount of radiation than any other part of the body. Guys, sperm count's hormone. We can re-up it, but those are simple facts right there. So we gotta look to nature to facilitate healing.
You know, it's going to say.
I've got to talk the target.
save everything is going to take a colossal effort, and it's not going to start anywhere but at home. And you gotta start talking to people. And this is from a guy whose girlfriend is fully stupid. Okay, like I love her to pieces, but she still watches MSNBC.
Why just cancel the cable? Just
I'll do it after the House of Dragons. Once House of Dragons is done, I'll get rid of MSNBC. But right now, I gotta watch albinos and dragons. But it's gonna take a lot, and it's gonna have to start at a ground level, man. And it really has to start at a ground level. And we had Alex Stein on last episode, and like what he's doing is kind of what everybody should be doing. Not necessarily like getting people to hit you and all that stuff, but like going to your city councils, going to your school board meetings, which I have to once my kids are in school, it's on a very small level right now. I'm gonna start doing that, dude. I'm gonna start showing up and listening about what we're talking about.
Too easy for them to dismiss you if they never see your face.
Yeah, for sure.
It's too easy for them to say, nobody thinks that. You know what I mean? They just dismiss you as like, oh, there's a couple of kooks, But if you can actually show up to places, yeah.
We all should, and we should show up in big numbers and hold people accountable. And we should also start pushing for the ability to get rid of people who sell us a lie to get elected and then totally turn their backs on us. We need to really get that going. We need to be able to call out
election.
No, but like
mid. He's talking like mid.
Yeah, I'm talking about no confidence. We need to know confidence, dude.
You see how that goes in California. The recalls. It's so hard to get somebody recalled. They make it damn near impossible.
No, I'm with you. I understand.
The people making the rules are the ones that would be subject to it.
Yeah. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to go talk to the mayor of Irvine. I mean, I'm putting in the work, you guys. I'm out there, broadcasting the stuff on every platform nonstop. And when people hear the stories, so I've been going into homes. So I'm one of the few practitioners that will take the meters and meter homes. And every major form of disease I've seen in the last 12 years. It all starts with cognitive, the cognitive challenges, the headaches, the lack of memory, the fatigue, behavioral challenges, ringing in the ears, all the brain fog stuff, lack of sleep. And then you go into the non-trauma concussion symptoms, nausea, vomiting, seizures, all the stuff we saw on the Havana cohort, the first attack of U.S. Embassy workers on foreign soil. So we've seen all that stuff, and then bloody noses, and then you go into the bigs, cancer, suicide, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease, cardiovascular disease, infertility. I've seen all of it in the last 12 plus years, clinically and personally with family and friends, and it's only accelerated with all the shots that people took in their bodies as well.
It sucks, man. They are waging war against you, and again, if you go check out all of our affiliates, and EMF Rocks is one of them. You're going to find things there that will help you push back and battle back. And I love these, man. I have some in my car. I got to give you guys some. I have some, Justin was nice to send me some. So I got to give you guys some.
I need them way more than anybody else, apparently.
Yeah, I do. You do. You need to put them in your car. Stop frying your tiny balls.
I will drop my balls on this table.
No, don't do that,
You'll hear
dude.
it
Don't do
reverberate
that.
across the universe.
Don't do that, please.
Is there any
don't
way
do
to
that.
make like a little pouch for the balls? Because for some reason my phone's always near my genitals, and
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah,
that is
dude, we
not
should
good.
get
That
EMF
cannot be good.
blocking underwear? Can
That's
we get
such a good idea.
So XG, we have two sizes. We have the full size
I need
for
that big one, yeah.
the full size for the bed, desk, and car seat. So that's a grounding bag. We have the mini for the pocket. So I put this in my pocket. I put the phone on the outside of it. It's good for a woman's purse, kid's backpack. So this is for on-the-go protection. About 2 to 3 ounces is about a pound of crystals. And the more of these bigger sizes, the more coherence and balance that you'll have in your environment.
Well, I absolutely love it. I think it's great. And, I'm glad if you go to samtripoli.com, you click on the banner, use the promo code. There it is. Use promo code tinfoil hat. and you'll get a discount on your purchase. So, I mean, they're all right there, man. You know, it's all right there. These are important things to get. And
hey, Sam, and for the people that got them 3 years ago, there's an expiration on these. So everyone says, how long do they last? They last 2 to 3 years. So if you got them 3 years ago, it's time to get more, because when they lose their form and they dehydrate, they'll lose their function for EMF protection. When they turn from pink inside to really white, it's time to turn to get new ones. So yeah, it's Tom Cowan says it best. Dr. Tom Cowan, who talks about, you know, the heart's not a pump. Talks about if dolphins get sick, it's who polluted their water, not did that dolphin get that dolphin virus. He says there's no more intuitive approach than to look to nature to help facilitate healing us from man-made radiation.
Couldn't agree more. Johnny, more and more I think about moving that one city where they don't allow computers or anything.
The people
I would love
of
to
the
live
isle.
there.
It'd be really hard to do this show.
It would be hard to send it out and smoke singles. Grab it. Well, Justin, we had a great time. EMFrocks.com. Check it out. Anything else you want to do? Any other social media or anything else you want to push?
Pilgrim.
Yeah, at EMF Rocks. Check us out at Athleticism Neurostacking as well. And then on
Tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
I need Findor and Gregor brought to the pool.
Aaron, open your mind.
Conversation
From the
terminated.
fountain of knowledge, there's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Good.
Are you
Now
ready to
forever.
get your mind blown?
Good morning, Swarm, and welcome to Tinfoil Hat. Thank you guys so much
My
for joining me.
storm
You know
will
I am.
continue
You know what I'm
to
here to
go.
do. I'm here to rock.
Perhaps
That's
the
right.
healer's there.
Live from the Wise Wolf Gold and
Pilgrim.
Silver adjacent
Thank you.
studios. Okay. Please go to samtriple8.gold. Use the promo code TINFOIL and join the Wolf Pack. Get in the precious metals games. As little as $50 a month, you
Yes.
can have precious metals
I am
sent
the former
right to your
stone.
house, and we appreciate them for sponsoring the show. Hey, I decided to do an emergency podcast with all the stuff going on with Trump, all the stuff going on with Alex Jones, what's just going on in the world. I wanted to talk to Adam Green today
Have you
and
heard
get his
anything I need to know?
opinions of the world, the state of the world,
We will
what
survive.
people are talking
Take
about,
one
all
of the
that
Rams,
stuff. Now,
Pilgrim.
Adam
It's
Green,
no
as you know,
Stormbrook,
has
but
very
it's
strong
faster than
opinions on a
going on
lot of
foot.
stuff. And I
have
enjoyed
never
our
ridden
conversation. I thought it was a
But how
great
difficult
conversation.
can
I
it-
think he's well read and he comes with a lot of receipts.
there!
So I respect
I'll
that.
bring the unbound
You know,
to the
he has
core
certain
way.
opinions on
We'll
Jesus.
meet you in Dornagon.
I am a believer and follower of Jesus in my heart, God above all. And so I don't necessarily agree with that stuff, but I feel like I need to have everybody on the show to give their side of the discussion. Adam, you know, says he believes in a God. He doesn't understand it. That's his thing, and I'm not here to tell him what to believe and what not to
Welcome,
believe. I just want to hear
Outlander.
Adam's take on it. So I hope you guys can enjoy it. If
Follow
that
no
is a
directives
subject
but your-
you want to hear somebody talk about, I understand and respect that. This might not be the episode for you. So please enjoy this, a wonderful episode. It was a deep dive with Adam Green into the world of, that's my daughter behind me, into the Abrahamic apocalyptic prophecies. Enjoy the show. Thank you for your support.
Drink from the fountain.
All right, let's get into it. Very excited to have him back. It's been a while. I was looking back at his last episode. I think it was 2020 last time he was on. So very excited to have him back, and we'll get into everything. Please welcome back to the show, Adam Green. How are you, Adam?
I'm doing great. Good to be here with you, Sam.
It's been a while, buddy. Been a while. For those who may not be familiar with you, Adam, and your last appearance, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Sure. Under the moniker No More News, I've been online making videos mostly about religion and politics, Zionism, since 2014. It's almost going to be 10 years now. I do weekly daily news streams of current events. I do interviews, debates, clip compilations of rabbis and Christians, usually, that sort of thing.
So, you know, when we last had you on, it was a deep dive into it. I feel like the landscape was much different than it is now. And you were just on the Union of the Unwanted like a couple months ago. And I'd ask you there if you felt that, you know, you kind of vindicated at this point, because a lot of the stuff that you've been talking about and gotten ran off of certain platforms, or banned, maybe that's a better name, a better term than ran off, but, you know, that now you're kind of like, it seems like more and more people are discussing what you've been discussing for a very long time. How does that make you feel at this moment?
It makes me feel good. It's like a different world, kind of. It almost reminds me of, like, in California, back when marijuana was illegal. It was just like a different world. And then, like, the laws change, and then now it's just everywhere. And if you're over 21, you can just go into a shop and buy it. It's almost like it's that acceptable and normalized now to talk about Israel, to talk about Zionist power in America. And it is like vindicating a lot of things. Like, people are saying, like, oh, I thought this third temple stuff and this eschatology and these end times fanatics, I thought they were just fringe, but people are really realizing how mainstream they are, how much influence they have. Like, all the top Republicans are all, like, tied in with John Hagee, the Christians United for Israel. But another part that's vindicating, that's also frustrating, is this big awakening that's happening online, mostly because Elon bought X and is allowing people to come back and is allowing more free speech there. It's being all herded into and filtered into the Abrahamic paradigm. So we are seeing a rise in, like, awareness about Zionist power, but so much of it is being controlled, like, on the other side of the dialectic, in this Judeo dichotomy, where it's like, it's largely Christians and Muslims who have this new alliance that are, like, you know, opposing Zionism in Israel. But I see that still as, like, that was part of the prediction, actually, that there would be an alliance, that Christianity and Islam are almost monopolizing the opposition to Judaism and Zionism in Israel. And if that's the case, it's keeping it, like, on the Judeo plantation in a way, the Judeo reservation.
I understand what you're saying. And if you had it your way, what would actually be happening? You know,
the central grievance wouldn't be, you killed God. Like, that's what you see so much of. They killed Jesus. They hate Jesus. They hate their Messiah. I see that as a contrived talking point that was, like, given to us. Like, so what would I like to see? I'd like to see secular criticisms of their religious supremacy and bigotry, not Christians being supremacists and bigots saying they're bad because they don't believe who we think is the Messiah. So criticize them for their religion and their actions, not because they don't follow your religion and who you think the Messiah is.
so when you see videos of Zionists kind of like kicking the shit out of Orthodox Jews, does that mean anything to you?
Yeah, a lot of people have a misconception about that. A lot of people are under the impression that Orthodox Jews are anti-Zionist, that they're Torah only and, like, don't read the Talmud. The Orthodox Jews, the Hasidic Jews, Nutra Karta, that are anti-Zionist, they say they're anti-Zionist. They're really just, like, anti-modern day state of Israel, but they're still Zionists. And anybody that believes in the God of Zion, I classify as a Zionist. So they still believe that their Messiah is going to come and their prophecies are going to be fulfilled, and there will be a state of Israel eventually, but they just think that the Messiah has to come first. So it's, like, out of order, that they say. But it's important to know that they're a very fringe vocal minority, and most Orthodox Hasidics are, like, some of the most supremacist and extreme and anti-Palestine and wanting to take out Gaza and calling them Amalek. So a lot of people are confused, thinking that they're anti, but really most ultra Orthodox are some of the most hardcore Zionists.
So when you see what's happening in Palestine, and you know, obviously you've stated that you're not really into the whole Abrahamic paradigm. What is your take on that?
My take is that Israel wants to take Gaza. Many of the leaders in Israel are saying, turn it to a parking lot, turn it to glass. They want to build beachside condos. It's theirs, and God gave it to them, and they're Amalek, and they have to wipe them away, and all this type of stuff. They say there's no innocence there. You know, they're not human. They're like animals. That's that sort of thing. So they want to take the land, and also a huge part of Zionist end times prophecy is something called Edom is destroyed. And I don't know if you've seen the compilations. My pinned tweet has, I think, 1.5 million views, and it's a 10-minute compilation of rabbis talking about the prophesied destruction of Edom, which they interpret as the West, America, Europe, the New Rome, the Christian countries. So their end times prophecy, one of the most important ones, is Edom has to be destroyed, and they interpret Edom as Rome, as the Roman Empire, and that became the Holy Roman Empire, and then morphed into Western civilization. So they believe they're in the fourth exile, the greatest exile of Edom under the fourth kingdom. And basically, another thing I'm very vindicated about is the Gog and Magog war, the end times Armageddon war that everybody's been talking about, the apocalyptic wars. So right now, how we have Iran, Russia, and China versus like America, Europe, and NATO, like that is the battle lines. That is the puzzle pieces in place for this end times war. The Kabbalah rabbis for hundreds, if not 1,000 years, have been saying Iran, Russia is Gog that's going to go against Edom. And I think part of them taking out Gaza, they're going to know that this is going to inflame the Muslim world, and they're basically going to get us sucked into something where we're going to have to go to war with Iran, and that'll escalate with Russia. So that's why they're so brazen, and they're saying, you know, they'll do it alone. They don't care if the whole world's against them. And this is also why you see the narrative so much that America has betrayed Israel, and Biden funded $6 billion to Iran, and Biden's tying Netanyahu's hands, and now he's not sending the weapons anymore. So we're having a whole narrative that America is turning on Israel, that we're anti-Semitic, we're white supremacists, a Christian anti-Semitic country, and that's the narrative before the collapse. And haven't you been seeing everywhere, like, framing America as the Roman Empire and that we're about to collapse?
Yes.
It's everywhere. It's like a huge meme, right? That is the Kabbalistic end times plan, is that we're destroyed according to the prophecies in this big war with the East versus the West. In Kabbalah, they call it Ishmael versus Esau, so it's Islam versus Christianity. And what a coincidence that the two offshoots of Judaism are the two most dominant religions in the world the last 1,700 years. And then there's an end times plan where they all have prophecies that where they're going to go to war with one another. And we're like right there. I think I've been saying since Trump lost that he's going to get back in with Kushner, and he's already saying Nikki Haley and Pompeo and all of the same Zionists, the usual Zionists.
To me, so crazy, because they're so toxic, those two. You know, and that's the thing I want to get. There's a lot that I want to get into with you today. And I'm really into this conversation. I do have, you know, people in my life who are very Christian. I'm Christian. I know you have. At the end, we'll get into some of the stuff you want to talk about. That you asked me you wanted to talk about, and I think I should be open-minded to all of it.
If you like conspiracies, this is the greatest conspiracy. That open, in-our-face conspiracy everywhere, yeah.
So you know, my friend Tony, a long time ago, a good friend of mine, talked about this before. I talked about some on my other podcast. I'm not making it cut, but for years would always tell me all these things that are about to happen through the Bible, right? And he would tell me, you know, he told me about. I remember in the early the mid '90s. You know, his group was telling me about towers are going to come down. And then he told me about the EU before the EU formed. and he's been telling me this stuff about lost tribes of Israel versus the pagans, which fits into kind of what you've been talking about right now. But he told me that from a Christian perspective, and so as I watch this thing begin to happen, and with everybody starting to call Israel along the lines of what you were talking about, he told me that that what will eventually happen is that the EU will step in and regulate Gaza. That will be it, and it will eventually get to the point, whether it's in our lifetime or not, that it will get to the point where it will be pagans versus lost tribes of Israel, and the lost tribes of Israel will be the UK, England, America, and Israel versus the pagans, which are a lot of guys you just talked about. He also included Germany in with that group, but the Germans, and that's always really aligned with me with this kind of thing that last time we talked about, and I got a little freaked out on the internet because people were associating me with something that you had said, and at the time I wasn't understanding it. So, this is a big part of, why we're having this conversation right now. And I think you called me faggot a couple times on the internet about things
I would never call you that word.
You called me something. You called, and I'm not
I'm
mad.
critical of the what's the guy's name? Boncini. What's the guy that blames
Santos Bonacci?
Santos Bonacci. Yeah, I'm critical of that worldview.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't care. So I've been reading this book, and
I haven't read that one.
it's a great book. I mean, you probably know everything anyways that's in it, but it has all the receipts, and of course, people are like, "Oh, it's been debunked" and stuff like that, and it fits into this thing that fits into what Tony had told me a long time ago. And that is that in my heart of hearts, I really do believe that the Nazis were the Bolsheviks of Germany, and that they were brought in to destroy it from the inside, kind of like what we're seeing right now in America with this social justice warrior progressive movement that is kind of trying to destroy all of our institutions and our history and flip everything. So when people see like a black mermaid, they're like, "Oh, dude, it's just a fictional character," and I go, "Yeah." And so I
would never call
that, and at the time I wasn't understanding it. So this is a big part of why we're having this conversation right now. And I think you called me faggot a couple times on the internet about things
I would never call you that word.
You called me something. You called, and I'm not mad.
critical of the what's the guy's name? Boncini. What's the guy that blames
Santos Bonacci?
Santos Bonacci. Yeah, I'm critical of that worldview.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I've been reading this book, and
I haven't read that one.
it's a great book. I mean, you probably know everything anyways that's in it, but it has all the receipts, and of course, people are like, "Oh, it's been debunked" and stuff like that, and it fits into this thing that fits into what Tony had told me a long time ago. And that is that in my heart of hearts, I really do believe that the Nazis were the Bolsheviks of Germany, and that they were brought in to destroy it from the inside, kind of like what we're seeing right now in America with this social justice warrior progressive movement that is kind of trying to destroy all of our institutions and our history and flip everything. So when people see like a black mermaid, they're like, "Oh, dude, it's just a fictional character," and I go, "Yeah, by itself, it's really nothing. But when you put it all together, it's really about just completely and utterly changing all the data you have so you can't pass it on to your children. And what happens is your children and your grandchildren start at zero, which is so hard to build anything in life when you have nothing to start, no starting point. So it's a very dangerous conversation, but I remember when they were going off kind of on your episode that you did about how we were saying that Hitler was a Zionist and a big part of Israel, which at that time was a crazy thing to say, like in probably every world but your world, right?
I was just talking about this book basically, written by Edwin Black, who's Jewish, The Transfer Agreement, and Infowars just did a post about this, the relationship that they had and how it benefited them. What's that one?
Well, again, this is the same book that I just showed you. But the
Okay.
reason I bring this up is because when you study Hitler and his relationship with America during this time, we're both holding up books
I
here.
know.
We
I know.
go.
This is for the screenshot.
is when you study it, it's like FDR's good friends was best friends was not best friends, but FDR's very close, if not best friend, was very tight with Hitler. And you study like all the U.S. corporations that helped build, not only build up the German military industrial complex, but were like basically like sugar daddying Hitler. They were people who were like the heads of the Federal Reserve of New York. It was like totally right there. So you start to study this, you start to go, you know, what's at work here through this kind of, you know, what was the group, the agreement, the Havana agreement or something like that?
Yeah, that's the book I was just holding up, the transfer agreement.
Yes.
Dramatic story of the pact between the Third Reich and Jewish Palestine.
Yes, and you know how we start to see that, you know, they made deals with Zionists to get them to Israel if they bought German goods and stuff like that. But there was the pact between them and the Nazis, and
it's real important if you read Herzl's writing, who is the modern day.
Can you get
father
into
of
Herzl
Zionism.
for a little while, so people a little bit, so
Sure.
people can understand exactly what you're talking about?
Yeah, Herzl's one of the founding fathers of like modern Zionism, and he would write how they would use anti-Semitism to help create the state of Israel, and how because Europe is like inherently anti-Semitic, largely because of Christianity, that they could never live in those countries, that they needed to have their own nation, and that they would use the anti-Semitism to justify it and to get it, because so that he wrote that decades before it actually planned out and happened. But something's really important too. I was talking about Edom. In the Talmud, you go to Sefaria website, like the official Talmudic database, and it says Germany was Edom. I've got clips of rabbis saying that before Germany existed, when it was just 300 tribes or whatever, that they were calling them Germania of Edom. And
holy shit.
So here's John Hagee's book. And John Hagee is America's pastor. He's the most influential pastor in America with all of his high-level political connections with Kufi. And his book is Earth's Last Empire, and it's got the eagle there representing the eagle of Edom. So the Roman Empire had eagle as a symbol. The Russians,
We have eagle, yeah.
we had it. The Russians, Germany had the eagle, and now America has the eagle, and that represents Esau and Edom. And when he says Earth's last empire, he means Kabbalistically the American empire, Edom, is going to be destroyed. The final Game of Thrones, and that's what the agenda is. That's what they want. And this isn't God's plan, supernatural hand carrying this out. This is a script. This is a blueprint that through their belief and following it and trying to hasten these things, and with the Christians and the Muslims also participating and playing their role as Esau and Ishmael, and by them believing in their end times prophecies that all converge, both Islam and Christianity believe that Jesus is a Messiah that's going to return to defeat the Antichrist. And if that's what you believe, that means predictive programming when the Antichrist comes, so it's all predicated on the Judaist end times prophecies, returning to the land of Israel, rebuilding their temple, anointing a Messiah, and having worldwide domination, the mark of the beast, basically. So all of that has to happen for Christian and Muslim prophecies to be fulfilled. So in a way, it's like they don't want it to happen, but it's God's plan and it has to happen, and it must unfold at some point. So in a way, they do want it to happen because Jesus will never return if it doesn't.
Well, that is the big thing going on right now with Netanyahu, and like this kind of belief that he was put in place to push this end times prophecy together, and he seems to be like trying to like, okay, let's let's kick this into gear. It's not happening quick enough, and this old guard seems to be passing. And they're like, hey, dude, like, I don't got a lot of these days left. When's this thing? I've dedicated my whole life to this. When is this thing going to happen? And it seems to be like, let's jack it up right now.
You're talking about his famous clip of him meeting the Rebbe, the Chabad
Yeah.
Lubavitch Rebbe. He
Yeah,
goes, "Do more to
that's
hasten the
psycho.
Messiah."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to be completely psychotic to me. So, these again are even though today there are people that will hear this and automatically yell anti-Semitism about it, which is not true at all. I don't. Me personally, my girlfriend's Jewish. I love her family, all that stuff. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm just when you have people conspiring to make certain things happen, and I just see people getting slaughtered. And the people who were like just kowtowing to George Floyd and being like, oh my God, we gotta oh my God, how can we be this? What happened to our humanity? And then turning around and just completely, allowing children to get beheaded and acting like it's a proper response to, October 7th.
Defending themselves. They're slaughtering Palestinian children and acting like it's a second Holocaust, that they're being Holocausted. And isn't that the narrative everywhere, that it could happen here? That's Greenblatt's book. They're calling America the Fourth Reich. They're talking, the rise in Christian nationalism and anti-Semitism on the college campuses. This is the narrative that we saw also before in Germany, before they were destroyed. It's the template of the Purim story, where Haman and the king of Persia were going to kill all of the ancient Hebrews or Israelites. I don't know how you classify them in that story. And then Mordecai and Esther, they did something with the king, and then they were able to win and then slaughter the Persians. So it's the same idea. And to take it back to Netanyahu and the Rebbe, when he first got into power, he'd go visit the Rebbe, like all the political leaders in Israel do. But Netanyahu was also crowned. People can Google Netanyahu crowned by a rabbi. He was a Chabad rabbi, Australian diamond tycoon, helped Netanyahu get into power. And just recently, Ehud Barak, the former prime minister of Israel, the one that got busted with Epstein and was right there with Netanyahu, creating the narrative of 9/11. Ehud Barak, just a couple of weeks ago, said in an interview that Netanyahu is controlled and what was the word? Slave. He's a slave to the radical rabbis that want to ignite the Middle East and usher in the Messiah. Even the former prime minister of Israel, who's known Netanyahu for decades, says this is who Netanyahu's in with. And then Netanyahu got out of power. He's facing all this criminal stuff. He gets back into power, most extreme Zionist cabinet he's ever had. And the Sanhedrin minted a coin. They did the Third Temple coin with Trump and King Cyrus, and then they also did a coin called the Sons of Light and the Sons of Darkness coin with Trump and Netanyahu on it in 2020. As soon as October 6th happened, Netanyahu and the head spokesperson of the IDF started calling this the War of Sons of Light versus the Sons of Darkness, which is related to Gog and Magog in the end times. So it's like Netanyahu and Trump, Kushner right there, all the puzzle pieces in place. I think they're going to finish Gaza, take Gaza, and then following the end times Antichrist script, they're going to have Trump and Kushner have a peace deal, a covenant with West Bank to make up for what happened in Gaza. And then, because, Kushner, it's like deal of the century. Kushner's the genius that's going to make peace in the Middle East. Trump and Kushner have been hyping that up so much that I see it as like foreshadowing, and like that's the direction when he gets back in. The only thing that Israel can do to save face, Trump was just at the UFC fight last night, and Khabib, the Muslim from Russia, says, when you get in, you got to stop the end in war in Palestine. He says, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Hey guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our boy James McMahon and Copy My Crypto. Listen, guys, has it pissed you off to watch crypto fly up in prices for a decade and you still have done nothing about it? It makes sense. Crypto's complicated and really boring. Well, here's the good news. You don't need to know a thing about crypto to make money like big taking night low health. You'll just time crypto.
You're saying Trump?
TFA.
So I think they're going to win.
You think Trump's going to win? Or Israel's going to win? So
I'm saying Trump's going to win.
Okay.
Get back in with Kushner. All these end times Christian Zionists like Pompeo, Nikki Haley, Lindsey Graham, Ron DeSantis, all of them basically. And they're gonna have this. They're gonna hype this big peace deal. It's gonna collapse. Something's gonna go wrong, and then there's gonna be the Gog and Magog war. That's what I think in the next few years is gonna happen. The Sons of Light and Sons of Darkness War. The same Temple Institute also made the coin of Trump in the Abraham Accords as well. And on the coin, the Sons of Light and Sons of Darkness is a book, a scroll found in Qumran Dead Sea Scrolls. And they have a museum in Israel with the light and dark symbolism is in the architecture. And it's Kabbalistic. The light is the divine sparks of light of the Jewish souls, and the darkness is the shattered vessels of the Kelipah, which represents the souls of the Gentiles who come from the Sitra Akra, the evil other side, the darkness. Edom and Esau in the west is the dark, and Jerusalem is the light. In the Talmud, it says, but that before Jerusalem can rise up and have their messianic age, Rome or Edom has to fall. The two nations cannot coexist. It's this dualism of the twins of Jacob and Esau, representing Christianity and Judaism, or Rome and Jerusalem, and that's the dialectic.
So let me ask you something. So Trump in this equation represents the darkness,
the Messiah of Edom. Yes.
So, and when do you think they did? Like, and I don't know if you have the answer to this, but at what point did they decide he was the guy who's going to play that role?
It seems like he's been groomed for decades. You know, he was getting top Kabbalistic Tree of Life awards in the early 80s. I feel like it might have even been with his dad before him. His dad was close friends with Netanyahu in the 80s. His dad was investing in Israeli bonds very early on in Israel's history. He was donating land to build Chabad synagogues as well. But like, you know, it's even weirder. Trump is born, you can look this up, guys. Trump is born on a solar eclipse. And he's been talking about peace and all of this weird predictive programming stuff with Trump for a long time. So I think, have you seen the new Dune? Dune 1 and 2?
No, that's the next thing I'm going to watch. I'm going to watch
gotta
that
watch
probably
Dune,
tonight.
dude.
Yeah,
It's so cool.
It's one movie everyone's like, I wish I would have seen it in the movie theater. I have a big TV, so I mean, I'm going to be able to watch, but I wish I would have saw it in the movie theater. But yeah, everyone says it's like a masterpiece.
Dude, it's so good. It's like a No More News movie, because like it's not really a spoiler alert. It's in the first movie and throughout the second. But the idea is that there's this cult of women that are pulling the strings behind the empire, and they're planting messianic prophecies on different planets to control people and to prime them and condition them to accept a leader or wait for a leader. So the whole movie, the plot is all about fake messianic prophecies to control people. It's right up my alley. But also they have this idea where there's bloodlines and they have different candidates for certain messianic roles. So it's like, I think maybe Trump wasn't the only one, but he was one of the people that they were grooming, and he's obviously been the one that's, you know, I mean, have you ever seen somebody more famous than Trump? He's the most hated and the most loved person in the world. It's so weird. He's like an evil, sinful guy, but the more that they come after him, the more support and love he gets. There's like a messianic cult vibe around Trump with the QAnon people and the MAGA prophets all over the internet. It really is like a cult-like phenomenon. The rabbis and the Christian Zionists have been calling him like a messianic leader, the new King David, the Cyrus, all of these messianic archetypes into Trump.
It is of my belief October 7th was a false flag event to bring on a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now. Is that your belief? And there's this whole narrative before you answer that a lot of this kicks off, what we're being told is because the red heifers are coming.
Mm-hmm.
Fat redheads are headed to Israel. Where are the fat redheads right now? Are they still alive? Have they been? Have we fulfilled some prophecies here? Do you have any thoughts on any of that?
They have to wait until the cows are 3 years old, and they have to be without blemish. So every single hair has to be red, no birthmarks or anything. There's Christians in Texas that are trying to selectively breed these red heifers and shipped a few of them to Israel.
Dude, unbelievable.
It's so wacky. And why? Before they can rebuild the temple, they believe they have to purify the priests and purify the land by burning the red heifers to ashes, mixing it with a few other ingredients, and then sprinkling it around so it's purified that they can rebuild the temple. And October 7th being a setup, I mean, it's well known now that Israel helped start Hamas. That Netanyahu's strategy for years was to continue propping up Hamas, to ruin any chances of a two-state solution, to have this terroristic threat that justifies, the ongoing occupation. But here's listen to this. This is a hot scoop. I covered this right after it happened too. And then the rabbis started doing their videos confirming with what I said. October 7th was the morning after the Jewish holiday Sukkot, which is a 7-day holiday where in the ancient times they would sacrifice 70 bulls on the temple. And the 70 bulls represent the 70 nations, so all of the non-Jewish world. And in Gog and Magog, they believe it's 35 and 35. Esau and Ishmael, 35 nations going to war with one another. And the gematria, the numerology of Gog and Magog also equals Sukkot as well. So having that happen the morning after that holiday that's so symbolic for the end times war. Also, another connection is I've got clip after clip of rabbis saying that 9/11 was predicted in the Zohar. And they cite, have you heard that one before?
No. Yeah, I know that. Like I said, like earlier, that like in the early to mid '90s, I met with like my buddy who got very deep is still deep into Christianity, and his church had a band, and they were singing about the towers falling in the mid '90s. Yeah, it was like crazy to watch.
Trump basically predicted a big Bin Laden attack. Netanyahu also predicted it and like threatened it. And I've got clips of rabbis claiming top Hasidic rabbis from Israel came and a few weeks before 9/11 said, say bye-bye to those buildings. Like that's a wild thing to lie about if he's making it up. But it is in the Zohar, Chabad's website, chabad.org. Google it, 9/11 Zohar. They have a whole article about how, the Zohar predicted that this would happen and that this would start the downfall of Edom. What the Zohar says is that 2 big buildings in the biggest city of Edom or America, New York, will be destroyed, will collapse, and then a great hall also, so like the Pentagon. And this will be the start of the third Gog and Magog, the third world war of Esau versus Ishmael, the clash of civilizations of Christianity and Islam.
So when you get into like all the Trump stuff, do you like this trial, the many trials? Is it of your belief this is all a play? This is pro wrestling theater. I mean, there's a lot of black pill people that are into that. This is all theater to corral everybody into Trump. Now we're seeing that New York Democrats are now all just fleeing the Democrats, running. They're not even saying Republicans. They're running to Trump. So is because everyone's like, what? I keep going. I just did Jesse Lee Peterson's show. I would love to see you on. That would be a crazy thing. But, I brought up false flags on October 7th. This conversation kind of confirms what I've felt the whole time. But he's the Great White Hope, and like I'm like, well, okay, we got the play, and then what is the deeper 5D chess or whatever they want to say about that? Is it your belief to corral them more into Trump?
Well, I don't know that it's everybody's belief. There's sincere hatred for Trump and Republicans on the left. There's no doubting that. But is the left so stupid, even the highest levels of the left wing, are they so stupid that they didn't realize that going after Trump like this would consolidate his power and make him get more support? Like, did they not see that he would raise $50 million the day after he got charged for this? And this would solidify his position, because like the more they go after him, the more support he gets, and they have to know this.
It's so weird to me, and I have friends of mine on the internet who are some of the smartest. Let me just put this: they are some of the most intelligent people I know. I don't know how smart they are based on their tweets, but they just keep teeing off on this whole thing, and they're falling for this thing over and over and over again. And I just go, is it just conformity? Is it just that these people must conform to the narrative in order to still have standing with the powers that be on their side of the party, that they have to say ridiculously stupid shit? Like, I listen to me, man. I don't know how people can think that paying off an adult film star is somehow 34 felonies worth of like a trial when every single one of their heroes has done the exact same thing. I mean, Kennedy couldn't stop banging everything that moved. Clinton couldn't stop banging. I mean, they were both like Andy Dick. They were tweakers that would just bang anything that was in their way. I don't understand how people can, it's like this narrative.
Biden saying that nobody's above the law when his son has gotten away with what he's got, like he has to know that this is going to outrage everybody. It's like Biden appears so incompetent, so corrupt. This 4 years has just made everybody so desperate for a savior, right? It's like you couldn't write this script to have Trump. It's so predictable. And now everybody's just flocking right to Trump. The more they attack him, the more support he gets. The only thing that could get all of these anti-Zionists to back Trump is exactly what happened. I'm seeing huge anti-Zionists like Fuentes or Ryan Dawson now saying, "Oh, we got to support Trump because this happened." It's just, it's
What's your
amazing
take on
to me.
Fuentes?
My take on Fuentes is that he's playing the Esau boogeyman of America. He's playing the villain role by having Christian anti-Semitism be central to his message. So he's playing the Esau, Edom, and Christian anti-Semite boogeyman, which literally helps them. It's the worst type of criticism. If your main issue is they don't like Jesus, like you've already lost the plot.
Interesting, dude, because it just seems like he's, I don't know if they buzz him watching trans porn, but it's just like this weird, like, it's just very weird to me that I see him everywhere. I don't see you getting the same kind of kind of respect, which is, I'm saying that out of respect to you, that you've been doing that much longer, and this kid has come out of nowhere, and he's everywhere.
To be honest, to correct you, I started getting into Zionism in about like 2015, so it's been almost 10 years. But I'm pretty sure he was critical of Zionist power like 2015, 16 as well. So we've been around about since the same time.
But don't you feel like he? And listen, I'm hearing your criticism of him. I think it's interesting. It is hard for my mind to. I both accept it and reject that everybody is a LARP. It seems so hard to pull off, but then I start to realize that this is what they've been doing forever. Like all of our favorite rappers are homo thugs, right? Like, so it's like, to me, it seems hard to believe that, but I mean, I'm open.
Well, I'm not saying that he's a LARP or he's like has Jewish handlers, but what he is he's controlled like theologically in a way. And I'm not picking on him. It's all Christian anti-Semitism.
I think he's a very smart man.
He's definitely very smart, which is why I don't see how you could be so smart and think that blaming them for killing God when Christianity wouldn't exist. Christians are only saved because they're washed in the blood, and it's the prophecies. It's God's plan. It's Jesus's plan that be rejected by the Jews in the Bible. So they're just following God's plan. And Paul, the Apostle Paul, even says like salvation was brought to the Gentiles because of their transgression. So being mad at them for following God's plan of rejecting the Messiah, and I think Jesus is a myth and the whole thing's mystical, Kabbalistic, based on scripture. But that's what I'm saying. Blaming them, most people think that Christians crying about "you killed God" are insane and deranged, and it makes them have a lot of sympathy and victim status for the Jews, but by being persecuted by these mean Christians who hate them for a stupid reason. Like that's the dichotomy of Christianity and Judaism that I see playing out, and it's Kabbalistic. The rabbis all say it's a law of nature. Esau hates Jacob, so Christianity hates Judaism.
So weird to me. It's just so weird to me. And like, these are just dangerous conversations to the normal person. There's no perspective in which they can come from. But to me, it's just like, if you can't have these discussions, you're never going to solve the problem. And if you don't know who is coming after you, you can't solve the problem. And, when I want to get back into a little bit of Zionism, because, you have all these kind of like mission statements of Zionism, and then what they'll do to achieve those goals. And some of the stuff is, and gets into some dangerous conversation, at least from my perspective, is you know, the sacrificing of Orthodox Jews over like Zionist Jews. And I know you don't think there's a big difference between that, but you know, the willingness to sacrifice Jews to attain this kind of whatever their goals are at that moment is a real thing. And that's why it's like I don't think it's just like Jews and
it's biblical too, the idea of like 2/3 or them being persecuted and refined through the fire while they're in exile. These are biblical ideas, and there is the idea. So here's the story of Jacob and Esau. I keep going back to that, right? There's a biblical story where Jacob goes to see Esau, his brother who hates them because he stole his birthright, and he separates half of his family to go somewhere else so that if they try to go to war against him, some will still survive. And there's this idea, Herzl also talked about it, that even if you cut off a few branches, you know, the root will regrow and it'll just become stronger. So the idea of sacrificing some of them definitely is in the cards.
So you've brought up Christian nationalists a lot. I'm going to do an episode, Christian Zionists, excuse me. I'm going to do an episode on the what is the Bible that put Christian Schofield Bible? Do you what are your thoughts on the Schofield Bible? Can you give us a little history on it and your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's true. It was funded by Jewish millionaires or billionaires at the time that helped promote that. But my big take on the Schofield Bible is that the number one religion in America is evangelical Christianity, so Zionist Christians, by far the most popular religion. And what people do is they'll say they're not real Christians. They want to blame all of these kosher Christians on Schofield, and they go, oh, he changed it. It's translation. It's the same Bible. It's the same verses. Like if all of the Old Testament and the New Testament is about the chosen people, and then they did this, and this is their promised land, and then, you know, don't blame Schofield 100 years ago if people are confused and think that Jews are chosen by God and that they have a holy land and they're meant to return there. That's like what the whole Bible is about. So people like to scapegoat and blame Schofield and Christian Zionism and say they're not real Christians. It's just a modern heresy, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't change the translations. It's just like a couple footnotes that are different. And it was like a change in doctrine where it became a lot more pro-Israel. But it's just like I say all Christians are Zionist. And it's not that I have a perfect meme. It's not that Judaists hijack Christianity. They started Christianity. That was the great replacement. That the whole goal of Judaism is having all the nations in the world recognize the God of Israel as the one true God and his chosen people. So get rid of their pagan idol worship and worship the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham. That's the ultimate goal.
What's your thoughts on all the pagans and what they call the little G gods and all that stuff? Like, you know, I don't know where like Aleister Crowley fits into your view of the world. And, you know, when we do 9/11, which we all know there was many more countries than 819 hijackers from Saudi Arabia. There was a lot more involved with that. But when we look into the like numerology of 9/11, the 7/7s, the 11s, the all that stuff, 93, which is a big Thelema number. What are your thoughts on that? Is paganism, the little G gods, is that any does that come on your radar at all?
I don't think they have anything to do with it. And I think they're all mythologies. I think Thor and Odin are just as real as Jesus and Yahweh. But you reminded me of something else, the 9/11 Zohar connection. It also has the 3 buildings and also the date. They give a date when this is going to happen on the Hebrew calendar. And it's like 1 or 2 days away from when 9/11 happened as well. So since you mentioned Gematria, I wanted to touch